In my wedding homilies, I always like to share the advice of Mother Teresa of Calcutta, who said, "On your wedding day, you will receive many gifts, some very expensive ones as well. But the most precious gift you will be receiving on that day is the gift of each other. So keep the joy of loving each other and share this joy throughout your lifetime." Profound. Throughout the Old Testament and the New Testament, God is in a relationship with his people called a covenant, a holy covenant. He is married to his people Israel. He is the husband, Israel is the bride, an unfaithful one at best. She breaks her vows, she worships false gods, and time again, God is relentlessly loving. Beckons her back to his heart, back to the covenant of love. Isaiah the prophet tells us today, leave behind your past, accept a new identity. You're my delight, my joy, my happiness. Would that we would say that to our spouses. You're my delight. You're my life's joy. My happiness is in and through you. In the time of Jesus, people's longings for the coming of the Messiah were expressed in terms of a wedding. Wine in the days of a Messiah was a time of rejoicing. A wedding feast was a time of celebration. So John tells us the story of Jesus' first miracle at the wedding feast in Cana in Galilee. To the beginning of his gospel, he shows us that God wants to pour out blessings on his people. He is forever married to his church, the bride, the new Israel. A wedding in a first century Palestine was a joyous affair with plenteous food and wine that lasted for a whole week. A typical wedding was a burst of a feast of joy and enthusiasm and great idealism. The couple was surrounded with love and relatives and friends and well-wishers who would shower them with gifts beyond all telling, full of hope, full of dreams, full of promises, entering a new school of love for a lifetime. When this wedding feast, in John chapter 2, verses 1 to 12, there's few details that are given, aside from the fact that Jesus, his mother, and the disciples were all there. A wedding is the happiest day of a couple's life. But this wedding turned sour very quick. The wine ran out. No more wine, no more celebration, everyone goes home. Humiliation, embarrassment, shame for the bride and the groom's families. The mother of Jesus doesn't stand idly by and watch the feast fizzle out. She intervenes and finds Jesus, brings the issue to his attention, and she is confident that he can do something about the matter. She announces, they have no more wine. Jesus answers, woman, doesn't call her mom, doesn't call her Mary. He says, woman, all women. How is this that our problem? My hour has not come. Mary doesn't even understand what her son is saying fully. Yet she believes. The mother speaks to the waiters in charge and says, do whatever he tells you. Some people have those words banded on their wedding ring. Do whatever he tells you. Some who give their life as religious sisters have the same words. Do whatever he tells you. Notice Mary doesn't ask Jesus directly to do anything. She doesn't demand. She presents a problem in a way that he couldn't say no. That's what I call mom power. Mom power. A mother has power. After Jesus performs the miracle of turning water into wine, Mary is a witness and an awe experience of the transformation of the hearts of the disciples who then become believers. Notice, when Jesus fills us like Folgers, he fills us to the brim, overflowing, exceedingly, plenteous, abundantly, extravagantly. When Jesus fills us with grace, he wants us to overflow with blessings for others. That's the miracle. The entire Bible, Jesus asked ordinary people to assist in his work of bringing miracles to the earth. God partners with us to do his miracles. He chooses those who trust in him. It requires an attitude of trust, an act of faith to be a partner with God in the work that he is doing through us. God constantly calls people of every generation to a new life and a new identity, a new challenge and a new land, a new opportunity and a new abundance to grow in more abundant, mature faith. God in the flesh didn't come to save a wedding party disaster. He came to save the disaster of our sin that sinks our humanity. That's the miracle. From Cana to Calvary is the miracle. Jesus' first miracle was to show the great miracle on Calvary. He would teach us that by his life and by his death, we would prepare for a new order, where sin would no longer be part of our landscape. The miracle of a new messianic age, where the past would be done away with, and that heavenly wedding feast would be a banquet where all are invited by the virtue of our baptism. The bridegroom is Jesus. The joy is the heavenly banquet that would come after Jesus' suffering and his cross and his death and his glory, not just for his disciples, but for all the nations. God delights in each one of us. He invites each one of us to come to the holy banquet of his Eucharist, to strengthen us, to use our spiritual gifts that he's given to us for his honor and for the service of others. The wedding feast prefigured in the story of Cana in Galilee is celebrated in the glory of Christ's coming, when humanity and divinity are forever wedded together in God's everlasting love. Through our faith in God, the water of our daily life can be transformed into something far superior, a new meaning, a new quality, a new wine. Don't people after many years say this is vintage? Meaning this is well ripened. It tastes the best because we've been formed and fashioned through years and even decades. Our discipleship is being honed. The Lord who changed water into wine changes our tears into joy, our fears into faith, our selfishness into self-giving, our deaths into new life. He changes bread and wine at this gathering into his body and blood for our salvation. What a wedding. What a celebration.